Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. We got Noah with us again. We're going to be talking about the quantum healing. We have the MAHA movement. It seems to be moving in that direction. Get some insights on that, and it's going to be a very exciting little broadcast. So welcome back, Noah.
Thank you so much for having me, Mike. And like you said, there is a lot coming up right now. We're kind of in the thick of it. We're about 5-6 months into the new administration, and we're already seeing a lot of advances. People should be excited. I think that there's a lot of cool and exciting, information we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, very good. So in the quantum realm, we're kind of looking at multi-dimensional type of movement. I think that, if you look back in time, how we were very healthy. I remember when I grew up back in the 60s, early 60s, everybody was really healthy. We ate very, very good natural foods. We got it from local farmers and so forth. Now it seems like we move in the opposite direction. But I think that, with your work and with a lot of other people's work, we're advancing to the point where we can possibly be the healthiest we've ever been in history.
Oh, absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind. I think that, we're already seeing the rise of some prominent figures that are talking about this, namely Casey Means, the new general surgeon, which, I'm sure we could agree she's great. She's awesome.
She's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I saw her on Tucker Carlson with her brother, and I was like, oh my God, they're just destroying big pharma. And the information they talked about how the cigarette company scientists, when they couldn't make money in the cigarettes anymore because they got dimed out, they got exposed, they went over to big pharma and the food industry. I was like, wow, that's a big tell.
Oh, big time. Yeah, they're revealing like never before.
Yeah. So what were your insights on her? You have some insights on her? Because there's a lot of people, I won't say a lot of people, but there's some fairly significant names. I'm not going to name any names. I have, but I'm not. People have their ideas,
Right.
And I don't agree with their opinion of her in a negative framework. But there are people that are saying that they got some negative stuff on her. What are your thoughts and your info?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, honestly. And it makes sense. She's her and brother both have now come into the spotlight, and just like yourself, now people are starting to attack them. So, there's a lot taking place right now. I can pull up some articles here, but I'll screen share quick. Pop this up. So, namely, I actually I've been seeing. Can you see my screen, Mike?
Gotcha.
Okay, cool. So, there was this recently filed lawsuit against Calley, Means Casey's brother, who now a little bit of background on the two. So, Casey and Calley both, have been talking now about big pharma, you name it, food, agriculture. They've been going at all of it, and from a lot of different angles. And it's really exciting because, we've never seen this on such a big scale, namely Casey Means now being, a part of the administration. It's really cool, but now we're starting to see a CEO here of a rival company actually came out, and there's been a lot of allegations against Calley. Now, just to paint a picture for people so they can better understand, prior to being in the spotlight, Calley and Casey were both startup founders, each of their own two different companies. Telemed from Calley, and then Casey actually has the continuous glucose monitors, which is actually a next level groundbreaking technology. Really helps people who deal with blood sugar and insulin control issues. But we are now seeing CEOs of rival companies coming out and saying that Calley's been abusing his power, which, believe it or not, Mike, this actually ties back to Isaac Cappy and Laura Loomer. So it's only fitting.
Yeah. I didn't want to dime Laura Loomer out because that's the one I was talking about. But Isaac Cappy basically said Laura Loomer was bad.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And I've seen some information as well confirming that. And here we have it. If we pull up X, seems about every other day she's attacking Calley. And it's really starting to come to a head because RFK recently came out and made a post
Right.
because so many people were attacking Casey in light of the new, introduction to the administration. And so here we can see RFK came out and said there's no doubt going to be people who are paid by companies and other media outlets to slander and vilify Casey the same way that they try to defame him and President Trump. And then the next day, Calley came out with a post, said, just received information that Laura Loomer is taking money from industry to scuttle President Trump's agenda.
Wow.
Yeah, literally the day after.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Now, when I lived in Sarasota, Laura Loomer was running for a congressional seat there, and I was going to have her on my show. And strangely, she didn't come on because usually when people come on my show, they get a lot of visibility. So, people believe in me, and I usually seek out who I think. And I was recommended. It was recommended to me to have Laura Loomer on my show to give her a hand to try and make it into Congress.
Wow.
She didn't come on my show, and she didn't make it into Congress. But we're seeing from some of her actions now, it's very, very suspect. We just all have to be very careful. I don't want to say careful. I just be observant, because there's going to be false claims, and some of the false claims, on some occasions, I got to admit, there've been times where I got off on a wrong direction, but I backtrack and say, hey, I was wrong on this. But you have to look at everything. You have to be very observant. We're in a situation right now where, like we talked about, there's a lot of money that has been made by a very small group of people that have done some very, very evil things to the American public and the world. And they are not going to go away quietly. They're going to continue to fight. And we know that they will circle back around and pay people off to continue their agenda. So even if Laura Loomer is being paid, even if she is part of the agenda and she's exposed and she goes away, it doesn't mean they're all done. They're gonna come back through another means. This is the way they work. So that's why we have to, and that's why I enjoy having people like yourself on, because we inform people, and through that truth, through that information, we stand strong and we can resist these people from coming at us again.
Well said. Yeah, absolutely. And if there's anything I could add to that, I would say, myself, no different. This past week, going through a lot of the information, reading even some of her tweets, it had me thinking for a moment, like, man, are these two, the Means siblings, are they really for the light? And, I bring it back to, again, people like yourself just constantly getting bombarded with attacks and threats for their livelihood. People coming out of the woodwork seemingly. And unfortunately, with social media and just the echo chambers out there on the internet, people can just really get deep into, this person's, not of the light and, yada, yada. But I think at the heart of the issue, and this is really what I wanted to drive home on today, because it's becoming a bigger issue on my heart, something that I'm really passionate about, is the fact that now we're finally starting to see medical advisors, a part of the new HHS administration, speaking out against the jabs for the first time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have that article. You want me to bring that up?
Absolutely, yeah. I can bring it up, or I got it.
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick.
You got it.
So yeah, it's pretty substantial. I agree with you. We're moving in that direction very quickly. Is this the one you're talking about?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, this has a lot of information in it. So you scroll down, you got all this and video and all that kind of stuff. Wow. Targeting the new tobacco. Yes. Wow. Just like I talked about. Yeah. And
exactly.
I didn't even see that. I was like, I saw that and I kind of scrolled a little bit, but I didn't see that. But I know through Casey Means that all the tobacco company scientists went over to Big Pharma, and that we need to be really concerned about that, because these are criminals that were never convicted.
No, not yet. As far as we know, at least
not yet. I like the way you're talking.
Yeah. We're talking the same language, but yeah, no, definitely. So for instance, this I forget his name, but the gentleman, if you scroll down, he's in the picture there. both those guys right there. So we got Jay Bhattacharya on the right, who is the head of the NIH now, who has openly said that we should stop the jabs. And then the guy on the left just got introduced to the administration now, and he's going to be a key role. He's not actually going to be like a politician, but he's came out and said so many things. He over in the UK helped reevaluate their dietary guidelines, and he's came out and openly said that red meat does not cause heart disease, and he's came out and said that we should be lowering our carbohydrate intake. I mean, all the things that we know, true science is coming out on, making these two guys the premier doctors of the future and of the now and of the present.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
I love that, because I felt that way too, having been a bodybuilder for many decades. Red meat is I think it's very valuable, and I know you were part of doing that for a little bit too, and you had a great product line as that as well. But this is one of those things that it's just reversing all this stuff. I've been promoting raw milk for a long time, and now they're starting to move in that direction too.
Oh, big time. Yeah, I think pasteurization is out and the raw milk is in.
Yes, yes, very good.
Big time, big time. Yeah, no, it's starting to rear its head up. You know what I mean?
So many things are being exposed. You look at this chart: 32 damaging health outcomes linked to ultra-processed food. So they're trying to take the ultra-processed food out of the children's menus in cafeterias at school. And I think that's fantastic. A lot of processed foods, sugars, and so forth. It's and a lot of these foods are panned off or pawned off as being, healthy foods, but they're not. They're full of sugar and processed. It's just really bad for our children and us too, of course.
Of course, no doubt, certainly. And it's not even just that. It's the fact that kids in schools now get less time outdoors than inmates in prison do, which I think is something that is it's completely destructive to not only their circadian rhythm, their health. Before and after they get to school, kids should be exposed to sunlight. That's the bookends to each. The morning light and the evening light are crucial for our kids' development, for a healthy brain and healthy nervous system.
Yeah. And I remember when I went to school, we had windows. There was always windows to the outside, and now there's. I remember in high school we were huge high school. They were inside rooms where you didn't have any windows. It was not good. So I agree with you. And it's kids nowadays. They're pretty much in prisons, prisons for their minds, prisons for their bodies, prison for their souls. A lot of people are taking their kids out of schools now, homeschooling. But, you have to be heads up. And I think that the MAHA movement is really moving in the right direction when they're talking about, because everybody's like, if you're taking care of the kids, we're gonna trust you and believe in you. And that's where they're going.
Yeah. And, I'll say this too, is because a lot of those people who got into those positions were thanks to a lot of the moms across the nation.
Yeah. Yeah, those mama bears, they made a difference. They turned our country around. Mama bears, there's no question about it. So this, let's go back to this British doctor making American MAHA movement. British cardiologist, longtime ally of MAHA leaders like RFK, is saying that there's problems with the COVID shots. So let's talk about that. COVID shots obviously have been found to be a real problem. I've done many shows about that. Fortunately, now on YouTube, they're accepting us to talk about this. In the past, it was, you could not do it. Of course, I think I'm being shadow banned, but that's okay. At least we're getting this information out. And like we talked before the show, there's been hundreds, if not well over 100 million, views of all my shows. So that's it's critical that we get this information out in any way that we can.
I agree 100%. And to go back to this, so I do want to bring up too, so the ultra processed food, right? we're seeing now states coming out like West Virginia. I know Arizona already has bills in place to take these ultra processed foods out of the schools, out of the kids' food supply for good. They're getting rid of all the petroleum-based dyes, right? Because we don't need to be using red 40. I mean, what even is that? How about we use some turmeric or some beetroot powder? Okay, natural things. I got some watermelon juice here. I just squeezed myself some optimum creatine in there. I mean, this is we got to get back to this. Cheers to that.
Yeah, so I saw somewhere that the military was controlling the food that goes into the school. Have you seen anything about that?
Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
I know, right?
Yeah, definitely. Which, we're talking about schools. I mean, talk about hospitals. Have you been into a hospital? I mean, the food that they're giving these people, a lot of these people are literally on their, doorstep. And it's like, why are we feeding people with, stage 4 terminal illness applesauce? Like, where did this come into, the fray? It's really, it's benign. And people gotta understand that, like you were saying, whether it's the military or whoever's been controlling this for so long. I mean, we're finally now being presented with some amazing, truly incredible individuals who are speaking out about it and who are actually want to help we the people. And we gotta stop vilifying these people. Of course, we gotta keep their feet close to the fire, because we know that these flames have been burning for a while, and a lot of people are fed up with these jabs.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it. I pulled it up. I asked in a search engine. And it's basically saying that United States Department of USDA Agriculture, what is that? Dairy and Agriculture, something like that. It's basically in collusion with the DoD is finding foods. USDA, of course, and we can't trust the USDA. Foods entitlement dollars to purchase fresh products and so forth. So it's interesting. We're in a military industrial complex. I think that's basically going to start to crash going forward.
Absolutely. And I think we're seeing it happen. If you'll pull up too, I think there's another article about an Australian. Yep, that one right there. I haven't seen that pop up there, but I can basically give you the gist. So there was an interview of another NIH, there you go, doctor who went on, and this Australian woman here, they went ahead and exposed basically how these jabs are loaded with over 60 million DNA fragments.
Wow.
Which now, when these DNA fragments enter the body, our DNA recognizes them and tries to pull them in. Okay. And when this happens, what it's doing is it's actually accelerating another particle found in the jabs known as SV40. And SV40, this goes back to the JFK assassination, actually. This ties all the way back to I'm blanking on his name right now. The assassin who they claimed did the shot on JFK. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Well, I've had him on as James Files, but I think you're talking about what's the Patsy. I got a blank on him too, but I'll pull it up while you talk. But yeah, that's pretty amazing, because I had all these guys. I thought this was all insider information where they came in and talked about this. But this is actually coming out mainstream now. That's pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely thanks to, there's a famous neurosurgeon. His name is Dr. Jack Cruz. He actually studied at Tulane University, where they were actually doing a lot of these experimental jabs on monkeys. There's a famous arboretorium there, basically, where they held these chimps, various primates, and they would test them. And I forget her name, but there was somebody who was studying there who basically, when the polio jab was first coming out, she made it known that there were this SV40 particles found in it, which now SV40, they found in all the experiments that they've done, that it accelerates basically the turbo, the C word. I'm not going to do that, but it's basically the turbo C work, which we've seen now from these COVID jabs, is thanks to this SV40, which is a bioweapon.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you read a little bit further down, it says, we're not seeing a dramatic cancer association with just the virus, but we are with the vaccinated people. So this is where the real bioweapon came in at. They used Lee Harvey Oswald was that guy. So a lot of people, I love my chat because my chat helps me think sometimes. So there's a lot of people out there that are starting to see the connection, what actually happened, with the flu, the China flu, as President Trump calls it, came from Wuhan lab. I was saying that, before anybody else was. And that's probably how I got famous for the, short period of time on YouTube. But it is very instrumental in helping people understand now when we're seeing the rising death counts. We see all these people in Hollywood, in the music industry, and all the people that got shots, except the people that are in, I think, the political realm. So we saw amazingly, they didn't have to get the shots. Our politicians didn't, in Congress and the Senate, could opt not to get the shot, whereas everybody else did in federal government. Yeah. Unbelievable. So obviously they knew something.
Oh, of course they did. Yeah. Which, we're now, years later, finally it has the opportunity to go mainstream, which, I mean, granted, these people have already gotten away with it for 4+ years. It's time to actually to stop the jabs and then actually go back and let's really crack down on them.
Yeah. So, I mean, not all the politicians didn't do it. Some people believe the lie. There were politicians. Take, for instance, John Fetterman. He made a statement that my entire family is vaccinated and boosted, and within 1 week, he had a heart attack, a stroke, and that's when he started going bonkers. It affected his brain as well.
Wow.
So, I mean, we see the evidence everywhere. People are starting to get wise to it. It's tragic. I mean, I've been pointing this out for a very long time. Before anyone got the shots, I was saying, don't do it, because I already knew. I had insiders who were telling me the shots are going to be loaded with bad stuff like you're talking about here. And like the doctors are finally coming out and are able to talk about now. Remember, during that time frame, if a doctor came out and said, don't do it, there are, natural ways to overcome the flu, they got ostracized and destroyed.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Yep.
Destroyed, taking away their medical licenses, their families threatened, their livelihood, their lives were at stake. And so that's why I think we've really got to, hold each other and our political leaders accountable.
Yeah. So you see some people that came out like they were like Russell Brand. Russell Brand came out against it, and he was like the darling of social media and all that stuff. Katy Perry was his wife at one time. So once he came out against the shot, they destroyed him. They completely destroyed his life, and they're trying to say that he's had sexual affairs 20 years ago, and in the UK they have complete control over that. They're going to destroy him.
Yeah, they do, and it's it's unfortunate, it's terrible, but I do believe that hopefully President Trump can intervene there in that process, because we already know they're going to come back. The claims were unfounded, not based in reality whatsoever. Just like, we're seeing now all of these other systems that aren't even real, already have been collapsing, and it's just going to continue.
I completely believe that. We had a lot of people here in the United States, lost their bank accounts and all kinds of stuff because they came out against all that stuff. And now we're starting to see that was, all a lie, complete and total lie.
Big time. Which I'm glad you pulled this up here. So again, going back to, we've got to hold everybody accountable here. So I did want to just bring this information to light for people, because So Susie Wiles, who we know is Trump's chief of secretary of staff, I do believe, her daughter's husband is actually the largest distributor of a very, very potent hemp-derived chemical. It is supposedly 100 times stronger than like cannabis, medical marijuana, and
Wow.
they're coining it as the fentanyl of weed, which
Oh
is
my
something
God.
I do believe people need to be aware of. And so Susie Wiles now, though, going back to actually the Means siblings, what's his name, Calley, and her actually both come from the same PR firm, the public affairs, sorry, the PA firm Mercury, which basically, they were both involved in big pharma lobbying. And so, does this really align with the goals of MAHA? I don't think so, which is why I wanted to bring it up. And I'm curious what your thoughts are, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at it. You sent it to me, and I was like, yeah, I don't have any problem pretty much with people that are using cannabis. I think it's for a lot of people, cannabis, and also there's like a mushrooms or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, so they are using both of those to help people that have PTSD, military, and so forth.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's being used for that, but I agree. You always have to be observant, just like, and you have to question. And once you get the real information, then you can either back it or call it out. So and that's what we need to do with everything right now. There's a lot of people that are, of course, and have been for a long time, going after President Trump and his teams and so forth. So is this just another inflated attack, or is it something that really needs to be looked at? We'll see. So great. Yeah. I'm glad you brought this up so people can look a little deeper into this. It's always something we need to be aware of. There's just like, President Trump really did Operation Warp Speed with the shot. So a lot of people are, have a problem with that. It's like, oh, look how many people killed, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't pushing the bad vaccination. I can promise you that. Yeah. And the other vaccination was probably filled with like hydroxychloroquine or something.
Hey.
So I don't know, guys. So just be very flexible. They can't put all this stuff out all at once, and you're gonna have a lot of people that are going to attack, and they're in between a rock and a hard spot, because they came in, I believe, the Trump administration, they tried to get as much out as they humanly possibly could, because this was supposed to be long and drawn out. Trump was not supposed to be president. It was supposed to be Hillary Clinton, and we would be in, I think, a Nazi hell space right now, all over the world.
AI,
yeah, totally,
100%, absolutely. And also something too that I wanted to bring up from what you said earlier is actually now the main argument against Casey Means, which again is just something that, hey, I am not saying either way. I like you, I stay frosty. You know what I mean? I'm in the middle, in the eye of the storm, and I'm just seeing what's coming in. And this stuff is interesting to me, so I always keep my eye out and try to keep my finger on the pulse. And so the main argument against Casey Means right now is because she's not actually technically a medical licensed doctor. So she's never actually, been like, she's not able to, see clients in a hospital setting like that. Now, in her defense, she does say, and which I, of course, wholeheartedly agree, she was going through medical school. She saw the writing on the wall already, the system that's been in place, and she wanted to bring it down. And so she left, she departed, and that's when, now, then you start getting into the startups, and I'm not really sure where all that, came out of, but, it's still interesting. And to, a lot of people out there, have been voicing that, hey, there are some doctors who have been very much so outspoken about the jabs, who almost got their medical licenses taken away, who are probably more qualified for the position. And now, you take everything into consideration that a year ago, the Means siblings released their book. It's called Good Energy, which, I love that. I think it's a great name. And the information in the book is awesome. They do talk openly about, the food supply, pharmaceuticals. They don't mention COVID or the jabs once, but needless to say, it did reach a lot of people, and it's helping people across the nation wake up, which is great because, well, here's the thing. Of course, we don't have an option when governments are mandating. Well, of course, we always do. But I'm saying when it comes to the foods that we eat, of course, that's voluntary. If you're going to choose the toxic foods versus the healthy foods, if you're going to choose to supplement or not, then that's your own decision. But when it comes to hot topics like, the jabs, the staying inside, the 6 feet, all that stuff, that's where I feel like we've got to have somebody who's really willing to stick their neck out and go, toe the line, and even, take it beyond, just the food supply. So that's what I think more of us should be drilling down on is, okay, yes, absolutely. What they're saying is great. I love, we got to be, smarter with our food choices. And we also got to return back to the farms too, because guess what? They're being attacked right now. The avian bird flu, we're seeing all this stuff, the egg shortages across the country. I mean, even in, I have a friend in Costa Rica, he's telling me that there's an egg shortage, which is just like, what? It's nuts. It's bonkers.
Really?
It's crazy.
I've been down to Mexico. There's no problem down there. I think it's mostly American, America. A little bit of Canada because they're kind of corrupt up there too. But I think it's regional. It's a regional problem, and I could be wrong. But the bird flu, I think, is another manufactured, problem, flu, and that's they've been progressively spreading it on purpose into the wild, so that it transfers over into our domesticated crop and so forth, domesticated animals. So it is. I think it's a scam. So since Trump has been there, I mean, they were like hammering down all the Democrat. We had New York, we had California, basically restricting health emergencies for bird flu. And then the Trump administration came in and basically shut it down. Now eggs are becoming plentiful again. There's no problem. So it is another scam, just like the COVID lie.
100%, absolutely. And the thing is, farmers do right now. I think we really should be more tapping into this innate knowledge that we all have that food from the earth is good. That real whole foods. Praying before we eat over our meals is something that we should all do. Just because it feels good, right? Hey, good energy.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
So moving forward, we're gonna start to see a lot of this stuff come through. We got a good group of people. They're working together. So we'll see. It's moving in the right direction already. They're already talking the right talk. Just remember, they've only been there a couple months. There was talk that they were going to be put in those positions. There was a little bit of pushback, but eventually they got certified very quickly. And now they've only had a couple months, but they're moving very rapidly to make good changes.
I do agree. Absolutely. I think it's going to be interesting to see, over the coming months, really, all the amazing news that's coming out on this, because this is the first time in my lifetime, that I've been able to see a lot of stuff that I just thought myself made sense now is becoming more common sense.
Yeah. So that one little, let's bring that one up. The CEO that's basically of that wellness company that's coming forward. The attacking. So another one of those, we need to just be aware that there's going to be some people that get a little butt hurt because they didn't get more mention or more money or something that they were promised. So just be aware of that. And who knows, maybe this guy's legit, and he'll bring up some really good points. I don't know, but we're gonna see this at the center of the fight. Peter Gil Uli, CEO of the wellness company, and Calley Means, who, in addition to serving as an advisor, JFK Jr. is the co-founder of a healthcare payments company and the brother of Casey Means. So there's, conflicting. You could say I don't see it as conflicting. I have lots of different products that I promote and I'm part of. Do they run counter to each other? No. But if you get into positions where you need to focus in the government space, there can be some conflict of interest. I don't know. So maybe this is what's coming up. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, look at Trump. He's the hospitality guy, the king, really, of hospitality. And, he's got hotels, amazing golf courses, here down in Florida and across the world, that everybody loves and enjoys. So, I think, I'm not too familiar with Telemed or Calley's company, but I am very familiar with his sisters. And I am sure that if they are aligned, with the goal of helping people, restore metabolic health, which I'm all about, helping our mitochondria to function better at a higher level so that we can ascend further, then I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, so there is a little bit of back and forth. So Means accused Coulson of sharing incorrect information. So we've seen a lot of that where people make accusations that are completely false. Trump finally cracked down on that, where the mainstream media was calling Trump out on all these different lies, and he basically started suing them and winning. So we've seen that basically go off. There's not much of that going on anymore, and that's amazing how that works. You talk trash, and then you get held accountable, and you have to pay a lot of money, and then you stop. And so that's I think where we're going. So we may see a little bit of this in the MAHA because there are people that have really good, legit, companies, and they feel like they're getting outed or, sidelined or whatever. So I don't know. We have to keep our eyes open. I'm glad that you brought all this up. You're fair and balanced, I believe, like Fox News used to be, but it's no longer. But I think you've done a great job, looking at all the different aspects there.
I appreciate that. And if I knew more Fox reporters, I'd compare us to one of them, but I don't think there's any comparison at all because
I don't think there's any left. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, man. So
they all left. They all have their own shows now. So.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's the best. People like yourself just keep pushing the line, really pushing the envelope, which I love because, again, disinformation, it could go either way, really. You could look at it and think what you want, which is what I like. I want people to think for themselves and to question everything.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat put Fox News like fake Fox. Yes.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Clever like a fox.
Yeah. Faux news. Go. It's faux news. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're seeing a lot of that. Unfortunately, it's gonna take time to clean all that up, but it's moving in the right direction. So the same thing in the real health industry. So we have to go back well over 100 years where they started pushing the lie about pasteurized milk. Pasteurized milk, I believe, is bad for you. When I look back on when I was a kid, I was forced to drink this pasteurized milk, and I knew that was not good for me, but you should drink it because you're supposed to, right? Because everyone said you have to drink so much milk, and I was drinking a lot of milk at one time. I had childhood asthma, and I attribute it to the milk. Of course, both my parents smoked like fiends, but that could have been a problem too. But I think it could have been from that pasteurized milk. So I eventually stopped drinking milk.
Yeah,
I remember I was in going through SEAL training, and the one of the guys that was one of the SEAL instructors were like, "What'd you guys have for breakfast?" And everybody's like, "Milk, milk, 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 milk." And he's like, "You guys are dummies. That's going to cut your run times down." And I was like, "Ooh," so I cut back on that from that point on. And then of course Arnold Schwarzenegger came out with Pumping Iron, and he said, "Milk is for babies," because they were asking him, "Do you drink a lot of milk?" He's got great big muscles. You must drink a lot of milk. And he's like, "Milk is for babies." And I was like, okay, something's wrong here. So I just stopped with the milk, and I got a lot healthier. Now, as we're looking at this stuff, the real truth is coming out. We're seeing that raw milk is actually the thing they're trying to get rid of. And the reason why they had to pasteurize, because they brought cows into the city where it was unclean in the city,
Right.
and they're in their poop, and they started to transfer that to the milk, and they're like, okay, we gotta cook it, and
Yeah.
that took out a lot of the stuff that raw milk has in it that's super healthy for you. So RFK Jr. is bringing that back. They're pushing
Yeah.
raw milk again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, it must come back. Which of course, they always like to just put a little sprinkle of truth. Like, yes, absolutely. In the case of factory farmed cows that are eating each other's piss and shit,
Yeah.
definitely don't want that bacteria. But
Right.
a cow that's roaming freely on pasture, eating grass, we want those bacteria.
Yeah, the good bacteria.
Exactly.
And of course, babies need their mother's milk. It's the best. Yeah, they're saying that. But my son was colicky, and he couldn't drink cow's milk because it made him even worse. So he couldn't drink his mother's milk because his mother would, not knowing, would eat cheese and so forth, and it would transfer to him. So he had to go with like a soy type of milk or something.
Yeah.
That made him happy. So,
Okay.
and then we're like, okay, now you're grown up. Now you can start drinking milk again. And then he started having the same stuff that I had, problems that I had. And I was like, oh, now I see. And we got him off milk, and he never went back, and he stayed healthy for a long time. So it is incredible. You start to see all of the lies like we're talking about. Now, what other areas can we look at that we can help nutrition and healthy living and so forth?
Right. Absolutely. So here's the thing. Eating healthy food is 100% something that we should all already be doing. But beyond that, there are things out there like toxins, those things out there like microplastics, xenoestrogens, the fluoride in the tap water, hopefully, which is, knock on wood, going to be taken out of there soon, yanked out. And then you've also got, of course, food additives, preservatives, heavy metals, okay, that we're exposed to constantly, our personal care products, parabens, sunscreen, and then of course, and not to, but alcohol even, and we're always constantly being bombarded by toxins. And so we've got to invest into something that can help bind and pull these toxins out of the body, which is why, honestly, Shilajit, why I started my company is because Shilajit is the best all natural. It's nature's strongest detoxifier.
Yeah, fantastic. And I can vouch for it because I've been using it for a couple 2-3 weeks now since our last show. I see some real good results from Shilajit. I like it. It's good stuff.
Love that. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I appreciate that. And the thing is too, we're again, so constantly bombarded by toxins on a daily basis that we've got to be taking something to counteract that. So, because here's the thing, right? So we go throughout our daily lives, and we come across something that maybe brings a rise out of us and causes stress. Well, okay, then that stress then can compound throughout the day, of course, because uncontrollables, right? Life happens, and so the reason why I always suggest taking Shilajit and why I've taken it now for over 5 years is because it's an adaptogen. So meaning it helps your body adapt to stress in your environment. So no matter what's going on in your life from the day to day, this is really just going to help you either to relax and soothe your nervous system at the end of a long day, or to give you that kick in the butt energy boost that you really actually need.
Yeah, and energy is super important to me, and I'm trying to up my time in the gym. It's yesterday I did 3 hours. Today I did a little over an hour and a half. So it makes a difference. Yes, getting it back. So it is. I think this Shilajit, because it's very easy to take. I take it with the protein shake. You want to take it with raw milk. All right.
Yep.
So our raw goat milk, and I do that. I sip it with the raw goat milk. And take a couple of those tablets, and it's super easy. And I've been seeing some nice results. That's right. Shilajit is the shit. We talked about that last time.
Let's go. Awesome. This guy, man, he's got the comment of the show so far.
Oh, TNA artist. He's a rock star.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, all of them are. Everybody that watches you is.
Yeah, very, very good.
I did want to show people here real quick. I've got one of the blister packs. So this is actually, now when you order the Shilajit, it does come with 2 of these blister packs, which gives you a total of 60 tablets for a complete 1 month supply. Okay. And how it works is you really just pop them out there. All right. Now this Shilajit here is not your average Shilajit. So about 99% of the Shilajit on the market comes from the Himalayas, which sounds great, sounds cool, sounds awesome. But unfortunately, India and the Himalayan mountains have become extremely popularized, and there are a lot of known contaminants to come out of there. So they did a review back in 2009 of over 215 Shilajit products sold online coming from the Himalayas. And again, this was back in 2009. So I really want to emphasize that because Shilajit in the past few years has exploded in popularity.
Yes.
It's gained a lot of traction now, and for good reason. But that review showed that 1/5 of over 200 different supplements that they tested were contaminated with heavy metals, it's no bueno. So what we do is we go above and beyond, and really truly what sets us apart is this Shilajit here, this little resin tablet, comes from the Golden Altai Mountains of Siberia.
Nice.
Yeah. Heck yeah. And you've got pulled up there a couple blog articles people can go and read really in depth and detail on this, because here's the thing. I've got, 6 studies pulled up right now. I could show people, you name it. There's one study here on skin perfusion and microvascular extracellular matrix function from women specifically who supplemented with only 250 milligrams of Shilajit, which is the equivalent of only 1 of these tablets. And our dose is 2 of these. And so women who supplemented with only 1 of these were found to have better skin health, anti-aging, better energy levels, overall better sleep, you name it. I mean, it's, and that's just for women. So then we go over to the male side, and we've got studies looking at, men from the age of 40 to 55, how it increases testosterone levels naturally. And the effects are actually compounding. So everything that I'm telling you right now, these studies on average last for only 90 days. And the benefits continue to rise and increase up until those 90 days are complete. And then they just stop the study due to funding. Of course, we know, it's hard to get, people to stick to a routine and a regimen for a long time as well. So I love to say this, but you can only imagine what the benefits would be 6 months, 8 months, a year down the road of taking just 2 of these little tablets. And the best thing is they're completely natural. So how they're created, and stop me at any point, Michael, if you want to interrupt or jump in, but how they're created, they're formed actually naturally through a process known as humification. Okay. And so simply put, humification is where plants decompose and all the minerals, the, vitamins and everything are formed into a concentrate. And, when tectonic plates shift, at least to our current understanding of, tectonic plates, they form these mountains, and, out of the mountain cracks, the crevices, come out this black, deep, dark Shilajit. Out of the mountain cracks, the crevices come out. Yummy.
Nice.
There we go.
Very good. Very good.
So, yeah, there's a ton of benefits. We're looking at anything from, muscle growth. There's also another study here. Actually, do you mind if I pull this up real quick?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Love to. Yeah, this stuff really gets me fired up, gets me excited. So, actually, a couple different studies here I want to look at. Namely, we'll just pull this one up for right now. Okay, so this is the one I was telling you guys about, middle-aged women who took only 200 milligrams of Shilajit, or 250, excuse me, and they found anti-aging, less skin wrinkles, firmer skin, relaxed blood vessels as well, due to its ability to increase vascularity, it improves blood flow, and then the one I was alluding to earlier actually is the effects of Shilajit supplementation on fatiguing. So they had, this study is freaking awesome, man. So they had, I want to say it was 60 guys, and they were athletes in college, all the way up to the age of like 27. But they had them do 200 leg extensions. You'll love this one, Michael. So after the 8 weeks, only 8 weeks of taking 500 milligrams of Shilajit. So that'd be at least 2 tablets of ours, which now, of course, they're using a proprietary Shilajit. We don't really know how it compares to a stronger extract, namely ours. I'd love to, fund some of these studies in the future. But what they found was at the end of 8 weeks, these athletes, right, who are used to, training regimens, day in, day out, putting in the work, to grow their muscles, they found that they had over an 8% less fatigue levels. So they were essentially able to go even past 200 straight repetitions of leg extension.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I take this stuff almost every day. People ask me, should I, cycle on and off? I do think that's good, as with most things, even switching up your diet every once in a while is a good idea. So, you can take a day off. I usually take a day off about every other week. But for the most part, I mean, you're looking at one of the top superfoods in the world.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard about it and used it over the years, but I enjoy this one the best. I see better results with this one. It must be because you guys did. You got the best. You got the best.
We do.
Shit. The Shilajit. The best of the best. Shilajit. All right. So
it's good shit, man.
We also have some other ones that we use in our shakes and so forth every morning, and it's quite delicious. You can get vanilla or chocolate collagen. We get the chocolate. And we have the chocolate. We have both chocolate and vanilla, but I can tell you the chocolate is quite delicious in your shakes, along with your other protein source or whatever you're doing. So very, very good stuff. And I take a couple tablets of Shilajit. When I come back, my post workout, I use the creatine. So it's we'll see what the results are with this stuff over time. But I can tell you from just a couple weeks that I've been using it, and I'm on auto ship, so I got another auto ship coming in pretty soon. It's been phenomenal. I'm very happy, very clean. I'm very selective with the stuff that I use. From what you were talking about, I was like, I'm going to try it. And on top of being selective, I'm very sensitive. I can feel things on another level. And this is good stuff. You got really good stuff. I'm proud of you, man. You got some good stuff. Good job.
Thank you very much. I'm blown away right now, but that's really kind of you to say, and I hope that the listeners at home, take everything with a grain of salt, of course. Like everything that we've been talking about on this show today, you gotta try things out for yourself. You gotta take the information, sit with it, and of course, not everybody is gonna what works for somebody might not work for somebody else. Of course. So that's why I always recommend just try it. You can get on the subscription model if you like it, if you love it,
Yeah. And use code Jaco for 10% off. And someone's asking for the link. The link is in the description box, and also I'm putting it in the chat right now. Awesome. So what I love about the chat here in YouTube is you can come back later and you can see the chat as as it was live. You can't do that in Rumble. You can't do that in Rumble, but you can do it here in YouTube. So very, very nice. Lots of nice little things. I've been a long time out of YouTube, but I like what they've done with it. It's nice.
I love that you have only good things to say about it after what they did to you. That's
right.
Good. Kudos to you, man. Dude, and you're growing too a lot. I check in. Obviously, I watch a lot of your videos, and dude, you've grown like 10,000 followers. Just since you started.
Right. Yeah. Over the last about a month now. So there was a time where I was like 2,000 a day, averaging 2,000 a day when I was like 250,000. So we'll get back there. We'll grow it bigger. We'll be 1 million plus at some point. Millions. Yeah. It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be alive. Of course, there's still some suppression. There's still some disinformation out there, like we talked about, but there is exciting stuff that's coming online. Like your optimal product is really exciting.
Thank you.
I'd love to see you guys branch out and do some more in the future. I'm sure that'll come. But at this point, you have some really good products that people can get involved with. Get them on a subscription service. Use them. there's somebody in the chat that's been using it for a little while, and they've gotten really good results.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so really good stuff.
Incredible.
And yeah, I mean, that'd be cool too if you start getting some testimonials. I know there's some in the on the website, but maybe we can get some really cool ones in the future. Of course, we can't make any claims, and we have to put that out there. We still have to put that out there no matter what we're doing. But and that's good. That's good business no matter what you're doing.
Of course.
At any time going forward. Even when we get, okay, you guys can talk about whatever you want, but still you need to have that, like you're talking about, a disclaimer. And if you don't put that out there, and then people expect a lot, they expect the universe, and they get the earth, and they're like, hey, you guys said I was going to get the universe, and I only got the earth. It's like, come on. Like, I get that all the time. It's really crazy. But,
of all people, I know that you do, Mike. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Shoot for the stars.
Yeah.
Land on the moon, right?
Yep. We'll shoot for the sun, but we'll get the moon, and you're gonna bitch about it. Okay. But that's most people are gonna try this and get good results, and that's what we look. That's why I love to have guests like you to come on. You talk about good stuff, and you got a good product, and it's the way the world should be at this point. Start sharing the good stuff, like we talked about. Look at everything, be observant, keep everything with a good grain of salt. Take everything with a good grain of salt, and then adjust accordingly. Oh
yeah, of course. No, and ultimately, and just while we wrap things up here, ultimately, open-mindedness, just being open to trying new things, always, I think, is great. And no matter what you're doing with your life, but I actually do hop on the phone with my customers. Like, after they order, sometimes I'll just call them and just say, hey, thank you so much for purchasing. I handwrite each and every single card that gets sent out with each order. I'm literally here, in my place. I can show you, I've got some workout equipment, I've got a pile of books on the ground, but, so it's a one-man show. And, shoot, I think I just lost my camera, but I think it's only right.
So yeah, you're like, I guess you just moved in the new place. So that's good. You work out, you fill orders, you go online, you talk, and so that's good. There we go. Get you back.
It's the best, man, So, and thank you all so much. Seriously, I've had people tell me, this stuff is life-changing. I won't get into the details, but or at least but it's good stuff. Try it out. Yeah,
can be life-changing. Yes, could be.
And, yep.
So, and some people have had that experience. So that's in different ways. So yeah, it's good.
Right.
All right, Noah, it's been great having you on again. Great conversation, good insights, and look forward to having you back on in the future. See what do you think? What are you thinking about talking about in the future? Because you said you had some plans for shows in the future.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of different things I'm interested in, namely, of course, health being a big one, but also to advanced quantum therapies, for people dealing with, chronic issues out there, which I'm really thankful now that YouTube is starting to loosen up a bit. We can really talk about, I'm actually experimenting with a couple peptides myself at the moment, which of course I know you're a big proponent of, as am I. I think that this is really, just the tip of the iceberg. We're really just getting things rolling. So.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So we'll talk more quantum next time. I can't get enough quantum. I think everything's going quantum. So that's good.
Yeah.
All right, Noah, thanks a lot. And thanks for everybody that joined in, and lots of love to you guys. We'll see you guys next time.